Some of them. All right, but I think it's a fine place for us to leave it. Let's move straight to our next conversation. As stable power continues to elude Nigeria, knowing what leg of the chain to tackle remains another challenge. The Senate has criticized electricity operators, the generating companies, GENCOs, distribution companies, DISCOs, and the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, over their failure to improve power supply. The upper legislative chamber accused them of adding no value since privatization of the sector in 2013. The president of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, asked why the governors and communities buy transformers, hand them over to DISCOs, and still pay for installation, as well as why TCN struggles to transmit generated power. He insisted that DISCOs have failed to invest in critical infrastructure, leaving Nigerians to shoulder the burden while making profit without adding any significant value in the process. Okay, going by what the Senate is saying here, is privatization of the power sector a total failure?
I cannot say it's a total failure. But we certainly deserve much better. And it's the same roadmap, the same power roadmap that India used, that we also used. But look at where we are. We borrowed that power roadmap from India. So if we could work in India, where in 3 years they added 14,000 megawatts, 3 years. And what is the problem with us? You see, one thing, in the past, it used to be, when people want to complain about the power sector, it's always the discourse that everyone is talking about. And I've always said here that, look, this thing is like a relay. It's a relay. One moves, hands the baton to the other. Okay. Then from there, we give to the other. It all begins with generation.
GENCOs.
From generation to transmission, from transmission to distribution. All of those legs have their issues. This is the first time that I'm seeing senators blaming the entire legs in the power supply chain. In the past, it used to be just DISCOs. And why were we always blaming DISCOs? They are the people that we can interface with. They are the face of the power sector. They are the ones who directly interface with us. So they are the whipping boy for everybody. But in this same country, there was a stress report that was done about the entire power sector, which rated TCN as the transmission leg as the weakest. People don't talk about that. I know that a lot of people are not aware that there was even that report.
Exactly.
I remember somebody in the sector who was arguing with me. I said, go and check that report. Go and check. I told him what that report said about DISCOs. That DISCOs can do so 1,000 megawatts. Yes. But that the problem lies more with the transmission leg. And we have seen what happened in the last few weeks, whereby people sabotage
power lines,
power installations. And we saw that they plunged the country into darkness. Look at the frequency of
grid collapse
in our country. It's never been this bad. And are you going to blame DISCOs for grid collapse?
No.
Are you going to blame GENCOs for grid collapse?
No.
It's not their problem. So I think when we recognize that they all have their issues, GENCOs have their issues, the DISCOs have their issues. It is true that DISCOs have not invested sufficiently in the sector.
Yes.
But in my view, where we really need to focus on is transmission. What is the capacity that they can wheel at this time? Those GENCOs at installed capacity, they can do more than 10,000 megawatts. They have the capacity.
They have the capacity?
Yes, more than 10,000 megawatts. But the transmission leg cannot wheel all of what those guys are capable of producing. What are we doing? We are doing consistently between 3,500 to 4,000.
4,000, yes.
It is a reality for us to get to 5,000.
I think we've only gotten there once.
No, more than once.
Okay, more than once.
More than once.
Okay.
You know, but when you get there, the next day, what happens?
I'll begin collapse.
So I know that even under Fashola, we hit that.
5,000.
Yes, we hit it under Salem Aman, the one who's been tried now. In fact, he set a record, the highest that we ever reached in terms of wheeling capacity was during his time.
Okay.
But this to go over to do more than 5,000 is not even sustainable. What is the point in doing it today? Then the next day
It goes down.
it goes all the way down, and consistently, maybe for a whole year after that, you can't even get close to that threshold. So I believe that for us to achieve our aim, let's focus a lot more on the transmission leg. All of those old infrastructure that they've been using since the 60s, let's freshen them up. You had when the minister set up a panel to investigate
The Great
collapse, you had all of what they were saying. They were things that we've been saying here. That the infrastructure has to be freshened up.
Exactly.
We're wasting our time. If we don't have infrastructure that can take in what even half of what the GENCOs have capacity to produce, then what are we doing? And then the DISCOs too. The DISCOs, federal government needs to assist the DISCOs by way of meters. A lot of people don't have meters.
True.
You know, a lot of people are still stealing energy, yet they will be the first to come out to say light is not constant.
Electricity.
But they give you a meter, you bypass the meter.
Exactly.
They are stealing them. You know, the DISCOs are refusing, even in many cases, to take power that is supplied to them, because in some of those places that you expect them to push power to, because people don't pay regularly, they would rather not give them.
Rather not. And they can't do it at a loss.
So they don't even evacuate all of what is sent to them.
Okay.
They don't distribute all of what is sent to them. They don't want to be giving people who will not pay. Like in my area now, we don't have Band-Aid, but I have friends who tell me about their Band-Aid story and all that. They believe that we poor people that we are living in that area, we are not likely,
Look how we can.
we are not likely to pay the kind of money. You know, they are not likely to pay, thanks to people like you who are helping.
No, Vicky was trying to be humble. I like that. He's trying to be humble.
See, no, I'm talking about us.
Yeah,
it's
I
not
know.
about me.
But the area.
I live in a run-down part of town. That is a fact.
Okay.
And the people around us, they felt that, no, these people, they are not going to do Band-Aid simply for me alone now. You understand?
Sure.
So I'm saying that they didn't give us Band-Aid, and I'm not even asking for it, because they know that a good number of us can't pay. So these schools are really choosy about who they give.
True.
It has always been like that, and it's difficult to blame them, because in some places, if you even try to come and collect money,
It is always a struggle.
they will beat you up. If you climb they will throw away the ladder, and how do you then come down?
Now, Mayor, Vicky has talked about the relay, the three.
So
they talked about the privatization.
Yes. Let me start by saying that the privatization
Where did we get it wrong?
Was faulty from the beginning.
From the beginning?
Yes. When Obasanjo decided to invest a lot of money,
yes,
through the sovereign fund,
sovereign wealth fund into energy sector, they spent roughly about $12 billion or thereabout. They made a mistake by saying that because they concentrated more on the generation, and then most of the stations were thermal stations. Okay.
They were relying on gas. So when there is shortage of gas, it makes all those generating stations useless. So that's the first problem. The second problem was that during Jonathan, when they now did the privatization, government made a major error. They gave those companies to friends, not those who are capable, not big energy companies all over the world who have the resources and the infrastructure to be able to be a major player. They gave it to friends and people, bankers. So most of them did not invest enough money into it. They just collected it. It's just like we dashed it to them, and they were running it the way it was run before. They just made some few changes. So because of that, there was not enough investment in that sector. That's another problem. Then when you now come to each of them, let me start with the discos. Yes. The discos, yes, they've improved relatively. Okay. But part of the problem now was that they were not generating enough money. Okay. Because, like you said, there was theft. Yes. People were not paying a lot of things. So they now came up with this idea of looking for those who can afford to pay and then concentrating on those places. For example, in the estate where I stay, they had a meeting with the executive of the estate before Band-Aid and said, okay, if you agree at a special price, they will be able to give you light for X amount of hours. And they did that with a lot of estates. For example, when you look at Ikeda Disco, on the mainland, Omole, Magodo, GRA, they were doing that because they were not getting enough money because people were not really paying for that. So, and there were lack of meters and all that. So, but part of the thing is that they didn't also, because like I said, because they gave it to friends and not people who have made big players within the industry. They were not investing enough money. For example, the meter that I use in my house was the old Unistar meter. Okay. And then Ikeja Disco now said, oh, everybody should change it. They kept threatening us that if you don't change it by a particular time, you won't be able to load. Yes. You understand? And we agree. I paid 229,000 for a meter till now. They've not supplied it. Really? Yes. So they did not make enough investment to be able to get that, because if you ask people to say, okay, you should have meters, people are not supposed to even pay for it. Therefore, government said people should not pay for it. The regulatory bodies said people should not pay for those meters. But they force people to pay. If you know you want to load, you have to pay for a new meter. But we did, and they have not even been able to supply it. So they don't have enough resources to be able to put the infrastructure needed to make the disco work in place. When you look at the GENCOs in terms of investment are better. Okay. They are better because they'll be able to attract a lot of money. Most of GENCOs is a big business, and it is big players that are there. Okay. The Sahara, the Geregu, and all that. But even at that, their own problem is that they rely a lot on gas. Sometimes they don't pay. They are owing the gas company. Okay. So the gas company will not supply gas at a time. So it is a lot of problem. But the major problem, like you said, has to do with transmission. Again, because when the sector was opened up, government took control of the transmission arm of it. They gave GENCOs, they gave the DISCOs, but government said, okay, we are going to be in charge of the transmission company, which was another mistake because we have only one transmission company, a whole transmission line has been there since 1960. So there's need, like I've always agitated for, there's need for them to have transmission stations or transmission company in each geopolitical
So you're saying that TCN should be unbundled? You
should be unbundled so that we have each transmission station in each geopolitical zone. That's the only way it can work.
Decentralize it.
Yes, we have to decentralize it to all the 6 geopolitical zones.
All right. We need to go on this quick break now. But when we return, the Senate, they also threatened to come up with legislative measures such as new laws. Is this enough to help the sector? We'll have that conversation when we return from this break. Don't go anywhere. Still Journalist Hangout. All right, if you just joined us, it's still Journalist Hangout. I still have Mayor Kimpelu and BKO right here. So, BKO, before we went on that break, the Senate threatened to come up with new legislative measures, such as new laws. Is this enough to help the sector?
New laws to do what?
Like maybe cancelling the entire privatization.
They cannot cancel.
It's not possible.
They cannot cancel.
It can be cancelled.
No.
No, it can't.
No.
Then what can you do?
Let nobody deceive you. If it was easy, previous governments would have simply told them to go. The penal fee that you will pay if you try it, you won't even want to think about it. The penal fee. And they made sure that it's not that if there is arbitration at all, it's not going to be by Nigerian banks. They are not fools because they know we don't honor our obligations.
Really?
Yes. Nigerians don't know some of this. They will say, why have they not sent them packing? Why? People will come and invest that kind of money and they know they can wake up one day, you say you don't want them anymore. We've done that before now. Even in the aviation sector, somebody brought his money. You remember that man again who brought equipment for navigation and all that. Is it Movis or something? Mavis.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Suddenly, we're not interested anymore. But people don't want to get into deals, especially when it has to do with concessioning.
Okay.
With our country, because they know we can easily refuse to honor our obligation.
Then what is the way out?
So in this case, we've already talked about the way out. And I also think that we have to look at other sources of power generation.
Okay, other sources.
Yes, look at other sources.
Solar.
Hydro. Brazil relies heavily on hydro.
That's not easy
heavily on hydro.
Lagos.
Nigeria, in fact, we have so much body of water that we are not doing enough. And the one that, what would have been our biggest hydro plant is the Mambila.
Mambila, yes.
Which will give us no less than 3,500 megawatts, even in the dry season, at the peak of the dry season.
Really?
Up to today, we've not been able to move the needle on that hydro plant. It's just wasting away.
Even that area,
it's 5 times the size of Lagos.
Yeah.
I was there. I was there to do a documentary to expose the fact that no road even leads to the place. I was there. People couldn't believe their eyes when they saw me, that it was only on bike that I could access Mambila. It was only on bike, no road. And we've been talking about Mambila since the 80s. There's no road that leads to Mambila. I had to go on a bike. You can imagine. I fell down 2 times on my way to the site. 2 times. And the cameraman said he refused to record it because what is the joy in seeing my boss?
Yes, exactly.
People now said, what kind of cameraman is this one? Has no experience. It's part of the story. But he felt, this is my boss. How can I record my boss when he fell down? If it was from Lagos that I brought someone, for example, the people who do documentaries here, they will have captured every minute, you know. But it's one of those things. Since I did that documentary, nothing has changed. There's still no road leading to the site. There's still no road. And I did that documentary during Fashion last time as minister. Still no road. So it shows that we are not serious. Look at the assets that we have. Solar alone, what it can give.
Solar alone is enough for us.
Especially in the north.
Yes.
Especially
yes. Very hot. You know? India, I've talked about it a number of times. India has an airport that runs 24 hours on solar. Just solar. So give the people off-grid power access. off-grid electricity access, give the people. All of those rural communities, electrify them. They don't have to be on the national grid. Give them off-grid power supply. Explore solar. It's now that we are hearing that, okay, some of the dams that we have, even this dam that continuously floods, is on your dam. It was originally designed to be an hydro.
It generates electricity.
Yes, the capacity is there. The capacity is there.
Then why are we not exploiting it? It's the question.
There's so many like that.
Because we said it earlier, when we started this drop, the people that started that time during Obasanjo concentrated only on GENCOs station.
Yes.
Instead of them to say, let's have wind, let's have solar, let's have hydro. Especially hydro and solar. Because we have comparative advantage in those places.
Okay. Well, anyway, we'll keep talking about it until the authorities that do the right thing. Let's move straight to our next conversation.